off my warp. So I have 2 repeats of the pattern that I want to weave, and here's what it looks like all finished up. It's hard to see because I can't back up any further than this. So now what I'm going to do is daisy chain this off, and it'll be set to get put onto the loom. So I wound off my warp, which is this gray right here, and the plan is to weave basically something similar to this, where it's 2 repeats of this overshot Annabelle pattern, and we're going to do that on the new loom. So excited! Time to get warping. I am warping this loom back to front. This is done by winding all the warp onto the back of the loom first, then threading the heddles and the reed. To do this, I will need to use lee sticks. These are sticks that hold the cross of the warp to keep all the threads in order. First, I need to make 2 straps to hold the lee sticks. I do this by cutting brown fabric strapping, looping it over the top of the loom, then twisting the straps together and tying the ends to the back beam. Next, I tie the warp ends to the warp bar. I then thread the lee sticks through the X of my warp and use the twist of the straps to hold them in place. This loom has a break on the warp beam. So first I have to step on the break to release the tension. Then I can use the wrench to wind the warp in place. I remove all the ties and make sure that all the strands are caught within the X of the lee sticks. I then place my warp chain through the loom and wrap it around the front beam. After winding the warp around 1 rotation, I use cardboard to prevent the threads from overlapping. As I wind on the warp, I adjust the spacing and tension until it is all wound on, leaving enough space to thread the yarn through the heddles and the reed. Warping this loom by myself was harder than I thought, as I didn't have enough reach to adjust the tension, step on the warp beam brake, and crank the warp beam all at the same time. For my next project, I definitely will need to recruit a buddy. Alright, with the warp on the loom, it is time for the next step. Now it is time to thread the warp through the heddles. The heddles are these metal rods located here. They slide back and forth on the harnesses, which lift up to create a shed for the weft to go through. Here is where I discover that the petals are divided by metal hooks. In order to fix this, I have to lift up on the heddle bars to release them from these hooks so that I can slide the heddles into the middle. So what I'm doing now is I am actually counting all of the little blocks. It's hard to see, but all of these little blocks in here, since I have these spacers in between on my heddle, what I'm doing is I'm counting how many of these little dents I need for this pattern, and then doubling it. So for example, for number 1, which is this guy, I need 8 because there's 8 squares in this row, and then I'm repeating this pattern twice, so that's 16. So, and I'm also making sure that I'm pulling from either side, so I have 8 from this side and 8 from this side. So now I just need to count all those and pull all the ones that I need into the center, and we should be good to go. Yeah. Alright, got all of the petals threaded, and now all I need to do is put the reed back on and pull all these threads through the reed. Yay! Sit here. Okay. All right, so I now have this loom warped and almost ready to go. I may end up re-slaying the reed because I don't think having this dented out the way I have it is gonna work. It's too spaced out, so I might change that. But for the most part, we're all ready to weave. And the one thing that I'm actually looking forward to is fall, because it is probably like 90 degrees here inside this garage, and it's really hot, which makes me want to weave knots. I really don't want to weave. It's just so hot, but we're gonna do this. So we're gonna get this woven, and I'll have you guys watch. See you soon.